Let's get into some things of the things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button if you are new here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be expected, because I'll be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about y'all. It means that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. How you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody is having a good week so far. I meant to take my meds before I went live, so bear with me while I figure out, child, these directions on what I'm supposed to take. It say, please see attached directions. I'm looking for the attached directions. I don't see them. I think these are the ones I'm supposed to take 2 a day. Child. Anyway, hi everybody. Let me say hi to y'all. We got almost 100 people in here. El Teddy must have already dismissed class, honey. Let's talk about it. Little Miss Introvert, hey boo. Rock Chick, Emily B, Lock Queen, hey Chuck, Half Pan, what's up, girl? Spicy Original, Gossip in the Garden. Yolanda Morgan, Xavier, hey boo. Crazy Homebody Girl, what's up? Complex, Pretty Gray Eyes, hey girl. Nap Queen, Alexis, what's going on? Dash, what's up? 88, hey Katrina, what's going on? Miss Bay Thing, hey Kitty Doc, hey girl, hey, I'll be seeing you soon. I'll be seeing Chuck soon. I'll be seeing Half Pin soon. Yes. Joshua White Music, well, come on in here. Sing us a ditty. What's up, Mia J, Montrez, Paul Brantley? If I miss Miss Cookie Ray, if I miss anybody, charge it to my head and not my heart. And if I didn't mention your name, drop down so I can say hi. Child, the directions must be written on this thing somewhere because I didn't open this. I know I didn't make up what I was supposed to take, child. Important information. Child. The coughing was better today. I did have a coughing fit at work today, like towards the end of my work day. But that was the first one I had all day, which was actually pretty good. What in the hell? I really think I'm supposed to take 2 a day because I took 2 yesterday. And I think I'm supposed to take 2 a day. All right. I'll do it when I get off of here because I don't want to. I'll look it up when I get off of here. Anyway, let's get into some things. Chuck, you said how was work today? Can I be honest with you? And Chuck, you weren't in my members only. We're gonna get Chuck a membership. But anyway, you weren't in my members only. But let me say something. Yesterday I went to work, and for those of y'all who don't know, I have really been going through, right? Just at a crossroads. And it's so funny. I was having a conversation with a couple of my coworkers today, and we are all in the same spot. Like we are all in this place where it's like we can't really afford to retire. Like most of out of the other 2 people I was in the room with, I had the longest time to retire, and I've got like 5 years. One person has 2, the other person literally can retire today if they want to. They could officially retire in January, but they got enough leave that they really could be gone. But all of us were like, you know what? Like, hey, not really in a position to afford to retire, but no, I can't do this much longer. It's just so yesterday, Chuck, if you had asked me that yesterday, my answer would have been, hey, yesterday was actually a pretty good day, if I'm being honest. It really was. It actually made me be like, okay, this might not be so bad. I might be able to do this. It really wasn't a bad day. But today, and I can't really get into the details of all of the things, but today reminded me, nah, you need to get the hell out of here. So I'm back where I started, if I'm being honest. Obviously I'll be starting the school year. I just don't know if I'll be ending the school year. And that's just real. I mean, school starts Monday, so obviously I'm starting the school year, but don't know if I'm ending the school year. Baby, they still haven't moved my stuff. And for those that know the story about them moving my things, they still have not moved my stuff from the old building that I was in last year to the building they moved me to this year. They still have not moved my stuff, and I have sent 3 emails. And not one of my emails, they have not responded to not one of my emails. Not one. And I'm not moving my stuff. I'm just not going to do it. And like I told them, if they need me to get a doctor's note saying that I can't physically do it, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But I'm not moving that stuff. So, well, I wish I had that option. If I had the option to go back to my old room, I would. I didn't ask to move. They came to me. I didn't ask to move. I was fine where I was. So I don't have that. I don't have that autonomy. Well, anyway, that's a longer story, y'all. I don't want to take up too much time getting into it. But to make a long story short, I was told they were going to move my stuff. When they asked me to change, to move to the new building, they were like, we're going to send you some moving boxes and we'll move your stuff over the summer. And then they basically tried to renege on that and say, oh, well, we're only going to be moving things that are property of the district where I work. Anything that you purchase with your own money, you're going to have to move. And I was like, you do realize that's everything in my classroom, right? There's nothing in my classroom that y'all bought. There's nothing in my classroom that y'all paid for. They were like, well, we'll move your computer and your textbooks. I have a laptop. I don't need you to move that. And as far as the textbooks, I don't care about you moving textbooks. You got to move the textbooks anyway. Like, you're not doing me a favor by saying, oh, we're going to move that anyway. But I was told that the custodial staff was going to move my stuff over the summer, and it didn't happen. So the person that's in my classroom this year, she was very nice about it. But basically, she was like, when you coming to get your stuff? And I was like, I'm waiting for them. Now, there were some other teachers today that was moving their own stuff, like putting it in their car and physically driving it to the building. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not putting that stuff in my car and driving it nowhere. If I put that stuff in my car and driving somewhere, it's going home. The next time I put that stuff in my car, it's going to be when I leave. I'm not moving. People were literally bringing up trucks today and moving their stuff. I was like, and it kind of pissed me off because I was like, I really wish we would all be in solidarity and be like, no, y'all told us it was going to happen a certain way, and it's not happening that way. Now, the flip side of that is I might be the only person they told that to. And I had to think about that today. I said, am I the only person that they said they would move their stuff? I'm like, am I the only person that they promised that to? Because I'm the only person. They've not said that to my face. The part about putting the stuff in your car and moving it, that didn't come to me directly. That's what somebody else told me. Nobody has directly said. And even when I went to my administrator yesterday and I was like, what we doing about moving my stuff? They didn't say to me yesterday, oh, well, you're responsible for that. They were like, oh, well, we need to email the custodians and da-da-da. So maybe I'm the only person they told that to. I don't know. But what I do know is I'm not moving it. Diamond Pearl Gem, I know exactly what happened. I just don't want to say too much out here, but I know what happened. Somebody trying to flex their authority and don't have the authority that they think they have, and they made promises that they can't keep. Oh, I am Chuck. That's why I'm putting everything in writing. That's why everything is in writing. And they haven't. And again, I've sent 3 emails in the past 2 days, and none of my emails have been responded to. So, anyway, let's get into this, y'all. You saying, was the person who told you about the moving the same person who told you to move? Yeah. No. Nobody has said directly to me that I have to move it myself. That is information I'm getting from other places. The person who told me they were going to move my stuff is the one yesterday who was like, "Oh, well, let's coordinate with the custodians because they're going to be moving some things tomorrow." This was yesterday. So let's send them an email. And so I sent an email yesterday and I was like, "Hey, I was told to email you guys to coordinate a time for y'all to move my stuff from the other building to the main building. I'll be available tomorrow, whatever time y'all are ready. I can meet y'all over there. Just let me know." And I CC'd her on the email because, nobody responded. So when I say nobody, her nor the custodians responded to my email yesterday. So then today I sent 2 more emails. 2 more emails. And nobody has responded to those 2. So tomorrow I'm going to send it. If I don't get it, when I wake up in the morning, if there's been no response tomorrow, then I'm going to be forced to email the principal about it. I'm trying not to bring her in because, we got a brand new principal and I know she got 500 other things to deal with. So I'm really not trying to bring her into it. But at the end of the day, I need my shit. And I'm not moving it. So we could do this the easy way or the hard way, but it's going to get done. And yes, I have a documented disability. So they can play if they want to. Anyway, y'all, let's get into this. Everybody doing all these emails. I get the paper trail, but I need a good face-to-face. Well, I did. I had a face-to-face yesterday. Yesterday, I asked her face-to-face, when y'all gonna bring my stuff over? And she told me email. So, okay. We emailing? Let's email. Let's email. But anyway, let's get to this, child. I ain't got time to be wasting on all that all day, child. It is what it is. But like I said, if something as simple as me getting what's up, powerful? If something as simple as me getting the resources I need to teach, child, I can only imagine. And again, I can't get too deep into it, like publicly, but it's some layers to it. But let me tell you something. Documentation beats a conversation every time. I'm just telling you. Documentation beats a conversation every time. Thank you, Vinny Van. Shout, it's time for me to take this hair out. I'm gonna take it out next week. I was gonna take it out this week and get my hair done this weekend. I mean, last week and get my hair done over the weekend. But then when I got sick, I just didn't feel like taking my braids out. And so I was like, well, now I gotta wait until next week. Because I didn't want to have a brand new hairdo. I thought I was gonna be moving and setting up my classroom and all that stuff. So I was like, I knew with the heat and the humidity, I was like, so I'm gonna do it next week. Yeah, baby, a good old-fashioned paper trail. And like I said, I went to my doctor yesterday. I wish I had thought about it yesterday. Because if I had remembered yesterday, I would have asked my doctor for a doctor's note then. But it ain't nothing but a phone call. I'll call up there tomorrow and be like, listen, I need a doctor's note. And I'll explain the situation. So I don't think it'll be a problem with me getting a doctor's note saying that based on my disability, I am not physically able to move boxes up and down steps. Because I'm not gonna do it. So yeah. Oh, gossip in the garden. I'm famous for, per our conversation. I just wanted to send this email as a follow-up to make sure that I understood exactly what you said. I told y'all one time I had a principal that used to be like, stop doing that. And I'll be like, stop doing what? You don't have to always email me after we have a conversation. I said, yes, I do. Because I didn't trust that whole fast as far as I could throw her. So no, I was like, no, yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. Professor B sounds really amazing. I have applied. I mean, it's not. So the answer to your question, DeMarcus, that's your question. You asked me had I ever thought about being a professor. The answer is yes. I've applied to be a professor. I was like an adjunct professor 1 year, well, like one small semester. But basically, and it really wasn't. That's a whole nother. It was an adjunct, but it wasn't really an adjunct, But I've applied, and it's one of those, they want you to have experience, unless you have like a PhD. Then it's kind of like, you got a PhD. But they want you to have experience. But of course, if nobody will hire me, how do I get experience? But it's funny you say that, DeMarcus, because I actually applied. My school district has dual enrollment, and they sent out an email today. They're looking for people to teach the dual enrollment classes. So technically, I would be an adjunct professor at the community college, but I would still be teaching my students at the school. So it would kind of give me that on my resume if I decided to do that. So that's funny that you asked me that, because I actually did that today. Oh yeah, and they know when they're and see, that's the thing too. Once you start sending those emails and you start CCing people, then they know, oh shit, I know what's happening. So, but anyway, no, I don't have a PhD. No. Anyway, y'all, let's get into this. So, what we got going on today? So, let's start with the small stuff and get into the bigger stuff. So the small stuff is Gary is now trying to garnish Kelly's Real Housewives of Atlanta check. Y'all, when I say that, it's hilarious to me. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Gary is the man that sued Kelly and said that he loaned her, I think it's like $80,000, and she hasn't paid it back. And he actually won a default judgment. Kelly tried to get it thrown out. I know, right, Candace? That's what I should do. I can get my PhD for the small fee of $1,500. Tell me where I can get that from. I got $1,500. So now that Gary has won his default judgment and he tried to get it thrown out and wasn't able to get it thrown out, now we find out now he's saying, well, since what's up, T? What's up, boo? So now that it didn't get thrown out and you owe me for real, owe me. Now he is trying to garnish her Real Housewives of Atlanta paycheck. And I'm not mad about it. Since you're so worried about other people's money and talking about you are the standard and all that other stuff, baby, I'm not even mad about it. Listen, go ahead and right here. Let me read this. This is the court. I mean, this is the paperwork. It is an affidavit of garnishment. It was filed August the 17th. So it was filed yesterday. And Gary is the state of Georgia, and it's Gary Tolliver is his last name, versus Kelly Potter Farrell. And the defendant is Truly Original LLC. So that's not even Bravo. That is the production company that actually produces the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Baby, you better get your money, Gary. I'm not even mad at you. And I wonder how much Kelly makes. I mean, she's she's a second-year housewife. So her paycheck is probably like maybe $300,000-$400,000. Maybe, I don't know. How much do first-year housewives, second? I mean, nowadays they probably make more than they used to make back in the day. But maybe Drew made, how much did they say on Drew's paperwork? How much did they say she made? I think she makes like $3 million. Didn't they say that Drew Sidor makes like $3 million? In her divorce paperwork, I think it was like $3. Was it like, how much was it, y'all? What up, Cheryl? Hey, boo. I feel like they said Drew was making something like $3 million per season or something like that. So Drew was making $3 million, and this is her like 8th year as a housewife. Now let's ask Rouse. Shut up, Spilly boy. I know you know. Yeah, she's probably making like I don't remember millions. I thought it was, oh, you know what? Let me find out. Because it was in the divorce paperwork. Hold on. Well, then that's even worse. If Drew was only making $300,000 and she been on Housewives for like 5 or 6 years, that's a little high. Okay, y'all think I'm being a little, that's a little, okay. Well, then if that's the case, then Kelly, you ain't making but about 150,000. Either that or Drew, you need a new management team because, ma'am, you have been on this show. This is like Drew's. If this is season 17, what season was that they went to? That Cynthia's baby shower, not baby shower. Cynthia's bridal shower was where they had not Kelly's boob made 50K. Shut up, James. That was season 13. And that was her second season, right? So did Drew come on the show? Oh, so she did. So that was her first season? Drew's only been a housewife for 4 years? Yeah, Bolo. I thought she'd been a housewife longer than 4 years. But then, okay, I say all that to say this. If Kelly owed that man $80,000 and he's trying to garnish her Real Housewives paycheck, damn, Kelly. If that man, and I mean, they don't take it all at one time. I mean, they'll take a little bit out of your check every payday. But from my understanding, the way it is, Jarvis could actually pay it. If Jarvis could pay $70,000 for some teeth, which we know he didn't do, but if Jarvis can pay $70,000 for some teeth, certainly he can go on and get that man $80,000 to get up off his girl. But the way I understand that they get paid is they get a lump sum it depends on the production company, because each production company pays differently. But Cynthia and Crystal Minkoff were just talking about this a couple of episodes on that podcast. And the way they were saying is that you get a lump sum in the beginning, and that's probably so you could get your glam and your stylist and get all your shit together. And then about halfway through the filming, you get the rest of your money. So by the time they're done filming, they have all of their money, which means that Kelly wouldn't have nothing for you, Gary, until next season if she gets a contract. I don't know. I thought it'd been more than 4 years too, Kenneth. But I could be wrong. They did have that long pause for remember Real Housewives of Atlanta had like a pause for like maybe almost a year. Do I think, okay, wait a minute, hold on. I got a Lord, I got a cash app. I got a super chat. Do I have a cash app? Did anybody cash app me? Okay. Could you see Melody Cherie on the Real Housewives of Atlanta? I could see her on there. I don't think she would make a good housewife. But I could see her on there, yeah. I could see her if she's ever in a position to actually move to Atlanta. I could see her being on the show. I just don't think she would be a good housewife, and I think she would be a one-hit wonder. I really don't think she would be long. Number one, Melody is used to being. What's up, Phil? Hey, Kim. Number one, Melody is used to being the HBIC, and she wouldn't be on Atlanta. That's number one. She would be low man on the totem pole. Number two, Mel would not be able to handle the type of trolling that they do. Like, can y'all imagine if Mel was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the minute she got into an argument with Kelly? Can y'all imagine how Kelly would lay her ass out? Angela? Can you imagine the reads that they will put on her as far as Martell is concerned? Like, can you I just don't think she would be a good. And Mel likes to stay very guarded, and she likes to curate her own storyline. Ma'am, you are not at that position where you can curate your storyline. You would be low man on the totem pole. You would be the new girl. You don't get to curate shit. She's used to being on the show where she was semi-production, and she could. You're not in that position anymore. You can't curate nothing. So the first thing they're going to do is attack you about Martell. And then let's not forget, first of all, y'all already know the first thing they're going to do. What's Portia going to do, y'all? What's Portia going to do? The first thing Portia going to do is film a scene with Spring Summer Joggers. The minute Mel get on Portia nerves, the first thing Portia going to do is go film a scene with Spring Summer Joggers. Or they're going to invite her to one of their events. It's not unheard of for alumni to come to these events. We see housewives at these events all the time when, you know, they're having certain events and stuff like that. Baby, you already know that all they got to do is invite Spring Summer Joggers to lunch, dinner, an event, anything. And baby, that's going to be the end of that. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Do I see a world where Melody would be invited to be a housewife? Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Do I think she would be good on the show? Absolutely not. She would be a one-hit wonder. You believe that Melody and Portia would get along? I mean, here's the reality. The thing about housewives is we never know who will and who won't. But look at the history. You might be cool with somebody in episode 1, and by the reunion, y'all can't stand each other, and vice versa. So, what is there a world where Melody and Portia would maybe get along? Yeah, there's a world where it might happen. Is there a world where Portia would turn on Melody or Melody turn on Portia? Yeah, absolutely. It's housewives. It's what happens. You know. But anyway, I do think she was trying to get on the show at one point in time. Which is part of the reason why I think she was trying to move to Atlanta. But right now she can't move to Atlanta. So, but anyway, but I just wanted to give y'all that little bit of update. Another update is it looks like some good news. It looks like Malcolm Jamal Warner's mom, aka his estate, has settled with his wife. Of course, when there's a settlement, we don't know what happened, how much money, but the mother said, listen, it was never my intention for my... Now, what I noticed in the mother's statement, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the actual statement in front of me, but what I've noticed is what I've noticed is that the mom was saying that it was never her intention. You know, Malcolm loved his daughter. He wanted his daughter taken care of. And she knows that he wanted her daughter taken care of, and it was never her intention to make it seem like or make anyone feel like the daughter was not going to be taken care of and everything's been resolved. I noticed that in her statement, everything was about the granddaughter. There was nothing about the wife. And I have a problem with that for a variety of reasons. Let me say this. You don't have to like that woman. I don't know what... And I don't know these people personally. This is my opinion, y'all. I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know Malcolm Jamal Warner's mother personally. I don't know his wife personally. And I think both of them are grieving. Let me say that. Both of them are grieving. They both love that man. However they love that man. And they are both grieving. And that I believe. But let me say this. What it sounds like to me from the outside looking in. What it seems like to me is... I feel like you may have an issue with the wife. For whatever your reasons are. It may be legit. It may just be that mama, you know, he was the only child. It's been the two of them her whole life. Maybe, you know, she had it, whatever. It sounds like there was an issue between the mother and the wife. The other thing is, I also feel like the estate reached a settlement with the guardian for the daughter, right? But it doesn't sound like the mother, because remember, the wife was also saying, hey, the estate owes me money. They had two separate cases. Remember, we read that. The daughter had a case that was separate. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, and I know that death makes people make grief and greed. I'm just saying grief and greed. And I don't think his mother's being greedy. I think there's grief there. I have an issue with the fact that if Malcolm Jamal Warner's estate can more than cover what the wife is saying she is owed, pay that woman that money. And what I believe, honestly, in my opinion, what I believe, and thank you, Ronnie, for that clarification. But what I believe, in my opinion, what I believe is the mama and the wife have probably been fighting for a minute. I don't think this happened overnight. I don't think the lawsuit was filed frivolously. I think there was probably a lot of thought put into, like, do we want the public in our business? Do we want, once it's out there kind of thing. But what I also believe is the mama was not playing fair with the wife. And I keep saying the mama because she's the executive of the estate. And I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like you probably didn't believe that this woman was going to take you to court. And the minute she filed that paperwork, because now it's a situation, I just feel like if there's money in the estate to cover what this woman is asking, like, she's not even asking for half. She's not even fighting saying, I was his wife, I should be in charge of the money. She's just saying, look, in the prenup, it said he was going to do certain things and he didn't do them. And now that he's no longer here, I can never get him to do them. I'm just asking that you make right by what the prenup said he was supposed to do. Now, to be fair, they were married a little over 2 years, and an argument could be made. The time to deal with this was when he was still alive. But again, 2 years really isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things. So, but I don't get that woman the money. Get that woman that money, and then you can be done with her. Get her to sign an agreement saying that's it, that's all. You can't come back and ask for more money. It's a wrap. It's over. Like, just do that. And again, this is me on the outside, but I just feel like for whatever reason, the mama didn't like the wife, and I don't know, because I can't think, if you really love this woman or even respected her as his wife, why this would even be an issue. And again, I'm on the outside looking in. I only read the lawsuit. We didn't get a response yet. Maybe in the response, there'll be some clarification. But just based on what we read and what we saw, I don't know. Anyway, moving right along. Well, she should have made sure he did it after it was put in the paperwork, and maybe his mom knows something we don't know, because why wouldn't he? Well, why wouldn't she? Because people don't do. Listen, everybody thinks they're gonna live forever. If we're being honest with ourselves right now, it's 200 people in this chat right now, a little under 200 people. If we're being honest with ourselves right now, how many of us how many of us have our financial, if we're being honest now, I want to know everybody saying yes just because it sounds good. But if we're being honest, how many of us have all of our affairs in order? God forbid something were to happen to us tomorrow. I would venture to guess over half of the chat, if they're being honest, will say no. We all think we're going to live forever, whether we're rich or whether we're poor. And so part of what was in that prenup that he didn't make good on was life insurance policies. It's a whole lot of us that don't have the proper amount of life insurance that we should have. Now, it's a whole lot of us that probably have life insurance policies either through our job or whatever, but their life insurance policy ain't going to do nothing but bury us. Let's be honest. Most of our life insurance policies ain't going to do nothing but pay for our funeral. They're not going to pay off our car. They're not going to pay off our house. They're not going to take care of any outstanding obligations if we have children or things of that nature. That's just the reality of it. And that's just, and most of us, if y'all are being honest, most of y'all know y'all shit ain't where it needs to be. So to be like, oh, well, he should have done it when, yeah, he should have, but he didn't. And again, like I said, they weren't married that long. 2 years in the grand scheme of things is really not a long time. It's just not. And again, should he have done it? Should he have been on top of it? Absolutely. Right. Tracy said, I got some things started. Does that count? A lot of us got things started. I got things started. And I do have some things in place. But, you know, so it's easy. I think it's easy for people to always think that rich people just got it perfect or make all the right decisions because they're rich. And that's not always the case. I don't think Malcolm Jamal Warner meant to leave his wife not taken care of. I don't believe that was ever his intention. Thank you. Thank you for the jewels. Miss Thomas, thank you. Mia said life insurance, power of attorney, trust. Yeah. It depends on the debt, Miss Pretty Amazing. It depends on the debt. That's a good question. It depends on the debt. Like your mortgage doesn't go away just because you pass away. It doesn't. The bank doesn't say, "Oh, well, the house is paid for now because the person who was buying the house is gone." That's not how that works. They're going to go after the estate. And again, depends on, did you leave an estate? Did you leave an executive? Did you leave any of that? That's why a lot of times when people pass away, they sell the stuff because it's. What's up, Miss Flames? Hey, I lost my parents last year, and I tell those people to stop calling me, mainly medical bills. Yeah. I mean, now stuff like that, for the most part, yeah. But like if they own property, if they own the house, a car, like big, and most credit card debt, you can pretty much get the debt. You know, the debt is the part of the estate, right? But if you didn't put things in place with your estate, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's part of the estate. When I worked when I was at one of the jobs I had after college, I worked for Sears, and I worked in the department that dealt with when people passed away, and that's what it was. You know, the laws were different state to state, but one of the things that we had to do was you had to send the death certificate, and once you sent the death certificate, then any charges after the date on there, you're responsible for. But anything prior to that, Sears will just wipe it. But you'd be surprised how many credit cards had debt racked up after the person passed away. Be surprised, honey. Be surprised. Yeah, that was a throwback, Phil. Child worked at Sears, honey. I worked at American Express too. Well, I mean, was that Sears or American Express I'm talking about? It was a credit card. It was either Sears, but I worked at both. I worked at Sears and I worked at American Express. It might have been American Express. No, it was Sears. It was Sears. It was Sears. So anyway, that's the update on the Malcolm Jamal Warner situation. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So I requested we give her the money. When I was working customer service one time, we had to request a death certificate to get the customer store credit converted to a check because the death was really sad. She found her husband. Oh. All right. So let's get into this. So y'all, Stephen A. Smith is mad. And let me tell y'all something. I don't give a good damn about Stephen A. Smith. I am, I don't care no more about Stephen A. Smith. I was never a huge fan of Stephen A. Smith, but I really, 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 really don't care about Stephen A. Smith because I feel like he is I feel like that he is a pawn that has allowed himself to be a pawn. And, he's kowtowing and licking the boots of, of the things. So this weekend was the National Association of Black Journalists. They had their convention. The who's who of Black journalists were there. And they presented Stephen A. Smith with the Thumbs Down Award. Now, they gave their reasons. They said for a reoccurring public pattern of disparaging commentary towards prominent Black women in various fields. Critics pointed to comments he made regarding Jasmine Crockett, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris, and Serena Williams. The NABJ leadership noted that the award serves to hold media figures accountable to their core mission and values. So this is basically a way of saying, listen, bruh, you are part of our community. You are a Black journalist, and we are, we kind of give you a public pop on the hand. Well, of course, Stephen A. obviously disagrees, and he's obviously upset. And he said that this was a politically motivated hit job. And of course, he gave his rebuttal, where he said that that he criticized the NABJ for not contacting him prior to the public reprimand. Why? Why do you feel like they owe you that, sir? He said, as an independent, he argued that the award resulted from board members disagreeing with his political views. And his personal defense that he strongly rejected the notion that he targets Black women, citing his upbringing and family. Sir, let me tell y'all something. I'm so sick of people saying, I love Black women. I was raised by a Black woman. That's like saying I don't have an issue with white people because I got white friends. What up, Terrence? Every time he opened his mouth, he got checked. Serena's husband came to the show to check. Right. Baby, when I tell you, I was here, and I understand that Serena's husband went to that, MMA fight down to the White House, or WWE event, or whatever the hell that was, down to the White House. I understand he was there, y'all, and people was trying to cancel him. But let me tell you something. I'm going to always love how that man showed up for his wife, his Black wife, and he came down to Stephen A.'s studio and was like, so what was you saying? What'd you say about my wife? I mean, I just thought I'd give you a chance to say it to my face. What was said? Look. Now, let me just read y'all. This is shout out to Tabitha Speaks. I got this off of her channel. Y'all know I like to give credit where credit is due. But let me just give y'all a little bit of the who's who of what Stephen A. has done over the last 2 years. And this may be longer than the last 2 years, but I'm going to say last 2 years. Okay. He defended Trump by comparing his prosecution to the racist prosecution of Black historical figures. Used the MAGA term lawfare to frame cases against Trump as politically motivated. He argued that Black voters should consider voting Republican. He said racism is not as prevalent as many claim. He defended Jerry Jones after segregation photo resurfaced. He attacked Jasmine Crockett for her criticism of Trump. Remember, he told her that she spoke ghetto. He criticized Kamala Harris while giving Trump more grace during election season. He attacked Cheryl Swoop, calling her take insane while defending Caitlin Clark. Because remember, Cheryl Swoops was very critical of Caitlin Clark and the passes that Caitlin Clark seems to get. Criticized Angel Reese over her clothing while praising Caitlin Clark's branding. Feuded with Monica McNutt after she challenged his show's limited WNBA coverage before Caitlin Clark. Defended ICE after the killing of Renee Good. Y'all remember Renee Good, the young mother who was just driving down the street, and as she was trying to turn her car around, the ICE agent shot her? Y'all remember her, right? Minimize systemic racism, calling it overstated. Praised Byron Donalds despite Donald's praise of the Jim Crow era. Defended Trump against accusations of racism. Targets black male athletes more harshly than white owners and power figures. Repeatedly defends white figures accused of racism. Y'all remember when Stephen A was at I feel like it was like a Lakers game and he tried to shake LeBron James' hand and LeBron James told him get the fuck out of his face. I might be adding a little stank on that, but LeBron James wouldn't shake his hand. I might be adding a little stank on it. I'm little sprinkling a little bit. But y'all remember that? Remember when he tried to shake LeBron's hand after he be talking all that shit? He had talked shit about Bronny, about LeBron James' son. And LeBron James said later on, he was like, look, I don't care about you talking about me. Like, do what you gotta do. But when you talking about my son, I'm gonna feel a different kind of way because that's my child. Now, granted, his son is a basketball player, and his son isn't, at the time was in the NBA. So Stephen A's job, but again, that's still his daddy. And he was like, yeah, we good. You ain't got, we're not shaking your hand. We're not shaking hands. Yeah, he talked about his son. He was like, we're not doing that. Stephen A. Smith, go somewhere, sir. Like, again, at the end of the day, you chose a side. This is how you feel. Just because you a black man, just because you grew up in North, in the South, just because, but sir, stay over there with that shit. Going back over there. Yeah, I mean, when he was talking about Bronny, it wasn't just about Bronny's game, right? But he was doing what Stephen A. Smith does. He does that. He gets into all of the minutia of the shit. Yeah, and James was like, yeah, bro, like, no, we're not doing that. Stephen A., go and sit down somewhere. Just go and sit down somewhere. All right, so let's get into this, child. So in other NBA news, there's some whole situation over there with the LA Lakers. Now, last week it was announced that the LA Lakers were being sold. For the longest time, the Buss family owned the LA Lakers, and Jeannie Buss was the head of the LA Lakers. She's the daughter of the former owner, and she took over many, many years ago. Ran the team for a very long time. I believe, I don't remember when they said they were selling the Lakers because I really don't follow it like that. But I saw last week where I was like, damn, the Lakers were sold. So, Mark Walter agreed to sell his stake to a group led by Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Now, Josh Kushner is the brother, I believe, of Ivanka's husband. What's the boy name? Kushner is his last name, but I forget his first name, child. But Ivanka's, so this is Ivanka's brother-in-law, right? They value the franchise at $12.5 billion. Okay. So former Disney CEO Bob Iger and Thrive Capital owner Josh Kushner. Now it's saying that the reason why he's selling his stake, why Walter is selling off his stake, is because Walter needs some money. According to what I'm reading the article, it says that he has to liquefy capital to resolve some loan issues that's tied to his company, which is currently facing a federal probe. Now, isn't that interesting that the majority stake owner of the LA Lakers is facing a federal probe into his business practices, while the person buying his stake is the brother-in-law of it's the son-in-law, of the president. Y'all get what I'm saying? Okay. Now, the problem though is Jeannie Buss said, I didn't agree to sell shit. There's 17.8% of the Lakers left, and Jeannie Buss is part of that 17.8%. And Jeannie said, I didn't agree to sell shit. So she has now filed a lawsuit to block the sale of the Lakers because she said, I didn't give him permission to do shit. Okay. Now, what they said here is, hold on, y'all. I'm trying to, because y'all know it gets into a whole lot of the legal boom, 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 trying to scroll past some of that stuff. Hold on. Now, this article, I'm trying to cut through some of it, but this article that was in Sports Illustrated, you can just go to Sports Illustrated online. They're comparing this to Real Life Succession. So those of you that watched the show Succession, they're comparing this to like a real life Succession. But Jeannie Buss was like, yeah, I didn't agree to none of this. I don't know what y'all talking about. And so she has now filed a lawsuit to block it because she said, yeah, I didn't ask for this. So she's currently the Laker governor, and it says that that the siblings cannot sell the family stake to Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. According to what she said here, I'm gonna just read y'all this article. I found a better article that was a little bit all these pop-ups. That was a little bit quicker. Los Angeles Lakers governor Jeannie Buss is opposing the potential sale of her family's stake to the NBA team, contradicting an earlier ESPN report about the family's decision to sell the team. In a letter obtained by NBC, addressed to law firms representing Jeannie Buss's siblings, Johnny, Jim, and Janie, Joey, and Jesse. God darn. Johnny, Jim, Janie, Joey, and Jesse. Lord. Her lawyer, Adam Streisand, says that Jeannie Buss has not agreed to sell the team and that any vote suggesting that the Buss family is selling would be and is void. Streisand argues in a letter that Jeannie Buss remains the controlling shareholder of the Lakers pursuant to a 2017 court order and that no sale can take place without her consent. No sale of the JAB Trust, 17.8% ownership interest in the Los Angeles Lakers, can be effectuated without approval by the current co-trustees, i.e. Jeannie, Janie, and Joey. Any attempt by the co-trustees to do otherwise and any attempt to aid or abet the co-trustees as such would constitute a breach of trust, a breach of fiduciary duty, and be in contempt of court. On Tuesday, the other 5 siblings said in a statement that they made the decision to sell the family's remaining stake and remain united in that decision. The Los Angeles Lakers have never been just about... Okay, now I was going to get into the history of the Los Angeles Lakers. Baby, this about to be ugly. This about to be ugly. She said that as of 2016, and I don't know what made y'all think that y'all was selling off this team without me, because that's not what's getting ready to happen right now. Now that's what she said. Chuck, yeah, you are on countdown to 20K. And I hate to be the one to tell y'all, but we actually lost a subscriber yesterday. Okay. We actually went down a subscriber. I hate to be the one to tell y'all that. If you are new here, it's 220 people in the room. If you are new here and you are not subscribed, please subscribe to ReallyBTV. We are on our road to 20K. If you think you are subscribed, please double check because YouTube be playing games. If you are not getting your notifications and you're not sure why, YouTube might have unsubscribed you from ReallyBTV. If you're new here, go ahead and give us a subscription. I mean, we don't bite, Okay. But as of today, I'm gonna keep it at 478 because we not claiming any lost souls. Okay, we're not claiming any. We're not going backwards. It's gonna stay at 478. We ain't going backwards. Okay. Anything we're doing here will be subtracted from that number. We won't be adding to that number. Okay. But that is where we are. That is the update for the countdown. Okay. Auntie Eva said, I hope she got good security. Child, listen. Jeannie said, Sure. Joshua's net worth is $5.2 billion. Baby, can I just get 10% of that? Can I get 10% of that? Anyway. Well, let's slide on over here to ABC. Because, baby, ABC decided they was tired. If y'all remember that, y'all know that this dude in the White House has really been bullying the media pretty much since he got into office the first time and this time. This time he was a lot more aggressive with his bullying tactics, but he's definitely always been a bully when it comes to the media. And one of the things that was very scary, and it's still very scary, it's not past tense. One of the things that's very scary is that it seemed like a lot of, thank you for the sun balloon, Lady G. Sorry, I said green. Lady G, thank you, boo. What was very scary, like I said, is scary, is that well, I don't know what he was looking at. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong. Y'all go look. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong. Shit. I thought that's what, listen, y'all look, I might be doing the math wrong. Chuck, double check what my count is, but that's what I saw. I could be doing my math wrong. But I know 417. No, I know it ain't 417. But one of the things that was really scary about that situation, and again, it still is that it seemed like a lot of the media people were bowing down and they were acquiescing. A lot of these people, it seemed like the minute Trump said he was going to sue them, they would just be afraid and they would just bow down to Donald Trump. Well, it seems like that is not the case so fast anymore, right? We see people pushing back. We see people threatening, like, okay, sue me then. What's really funny is that Donald Trump is actually suing the BBC and I think he thought the BBC was just going to bow down. Baby, the BBC is not CNN or MSNBC. Like, that is not how this works. And what I think, hey, Atalia, what I find to be funny was the BBC was like, cool, you want to sue us? Great. Now hand over that discovery. We want to see your financial records. We want to see your children's financial records. Like, now they are subpoenaing everything. And I know Trump wishes that he had never bit off from the BBC, because maybe the BBC is not playing those kinds of games. You know what I'm saying? So, right, and those who didn't got fired, i.e. Stephen Colbert, absolutely. So ABC today has fired a lawsuit, because remember, with the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, and honestly, Target, y'all remind me to come back to Target in a minute. Give me about when I'm winding down this story, start putting Target in the chat so I don't forget y'all. What I find to be interesting though was it honestly was the boycott that really got ABC to, because ABC was giving in. Remember, ABC had pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air, didn't know when Jimmy Kimmel was coming back. But that next day, and see, this is shit. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Target because this will maybe remember. See, this is shit that I keep trying to tell y'all. And when I say y'all, if it don't apply, let it fly. I'm talking to y'all though. But this is shit I keep trying to tell y'all. Money talks and bullshit walks. Jimmy Kimmel got pulled before the next morning. Started canceling them Disney prescriptions. Started canceling them Disney subscriptions. Started canceling them Disney travel packages. Started canceling them Disney vacations. Started canceling their timeshares down to the Disney parks and all those different everything connected to Disney, and Disney's stock started dropping. See, that's what got Jimmy Kimmel ass back on the air. That's what got Jimmy Kimmel's ass back on the air as fast as it happened. Them Disney cruises, exactly. When people started calling, I forgot the numbers now, but the amount of Disney plus prescription, I keep wanting to say prescription, subscriptions that got canceled, baby, they wasn't playing. And them Disney shareholders said, the fuck? Because contrary to popular belief, any giant built on consumer business can be overthrown. As long as you need me to keep buying your product, you are beholden to the people that are buying the products. Disney still need people to buy their products. So the FCC has still been fucking with ABC. Now they're coming for The View. So ABC filed a lawsuit today. This is coming from NPR. So the ABC network sued the FCC in federal court Tuesday in a case with major First Amendment implications, arguing that the Trump administration has violated its free speech rights by launching investigations and challenging its broadcast license in retaliation for its news coverage, late night satire, and views on talk shows. And y'all know they're talking about The View. ABC and its corporate parent, Walt Disney, alleged that the FCC has taken these actions to appease Trump, who has repeatedly called for the network to be stripped of its license in response to materials which has sparked his ire. The network's lawsuit cites Trump's own social media post, which condemn ABC's news coverage. Its talk show The View and late night comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who has frequently mocked the president. The lawsuit starts, government censorship is deeply un-American. It goes on to note that in the words of a recent unanimous U.S. Supreme Court decision involving the National Rifle Association, the government may not use the power of the state to punish or suppress disfavored expression. Ooh, not they about to throw the words right back at the Supreme Court, though. This case concerns the administration's sustained effort to do just that. The ABC Disney lawsuit argues that the administration has waged a retaliatory campaign against ABC for a single reason. It disapproves of what ABC broadcasts. ABC and Disney own 8 local TV stations which beam out the national network shows and local programming in specific regions. Among them are stations in 6 of the nation's largest markets, which contribute significantly to ABC's bottom line. They require federal licenses because they rely on public airwaves. The FCC forced all 8 of them to undergo early scrutiny of the renewal process of their licenses years ahead of schedule. It's an essentially unprecedented move in this modern era. And then it just goes on to, get into all of the details of the things. Hold on, let me read a little bit more. I'll read a little bit more. The FCC and its chief, Brandon Carr, did not immediately comment on the suit. The commission has historically acted in a quasi-independent role from presidential administration, with the president's party holding 3 seats and the opposing party holding 2. But Trump publicly said before taking office that he saw it as an extension of the executive branch. Recent court decisions have reined in the independence of some other semi-autonomous agencies set up by Congress, and Carr has acted as a booster and advocate for Trump's excoriation of the press, including ABC. For his part, Carr has said he's making sure broadcasters cooperate in the public interest, a legal requirement, and that they don't violate Trump's executive order on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But he has also outspoken in his support of Trump's agenda, including specific criticisms of ABC, Kimmel, The View, and its journalists. In one instance, he warned that ABC and Disney would do this the easy way or the hard way amid the president's call for Kimmel to be pulled off the air. The host was suspended and returned days later after a major public outcry. Ironically, ABC had been the first in a string of major media companies and digital giants to reach settlements with Trump over lawsuits he filed against them as a private citizen. It paid $16 million to settle his defamation case in December 2024. And that was y'all's first mistake, but okay. Involving remarks by anchor George Stephanopoulos after Trump had won a return to the White House, but before his inauguration. Given Trump's continuing broadsides against Kimmel, its daytime talk show The View, and its journalists, however, Disney has taken an increasingly assertive stance against the administration. We're very principled in this, Disney CEO Josh DeMauro told NBC's Julia Bornstein. We're going to stand up to what we believe as journalistic integrity, and we're not going to be told how to run that side of our business. Other outlets are closely watching this lawsuit to see what the implication is going to be. Listen. ABC should have never given in. ABC should have never given in to begin with. George Stephanopoulos didn't do anything wrong. They should have stood behind him and they should have dealt with whatever they was going to deal with. What they realized, and unfortunately the hard way, what they realized is once you give into a bully, you will always be expected to give into the bully. So you gave into him over the George Stephanopoulos lawsuit. So then when it came to Jimmy Kimmel, he thought he could pull Jimmy Kimmel and there would be no pushback. It's just like a lavender pinkish color. So I'm actually surprised Disney ain't capitulating. They usually the non-confrontational conglomerate, right? But at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. It's their money. It's the money. Give an inch and you'll take them out. Exactly. It's okay. Y'all know I'm easily distracted too, child. It's all right. Ain't no thing. Tracy, are you still here? Tracy, if you are still here in the bushes, can you drop the link for the football pool? If you are not in the football pool, y'all, we have limited spaces available. I can only allow 20 people in, and people have been signing up. So if you just keep forgetting or you keep, procrastinating like I tend to do sometimes, I'm begging you, now is the time for you to go ahead and sign up. We still have about 2 weeks left before the season starts, maybe 3 weeks before the season starts, but go ahead and get in there now because once it hits 20, there's nothing I can do. I can't extend it. That's the largest I can make it. So I made it for the full amount, which was 20. So again, if you have not done that, please make sure that you are in. Tracy, if you are still in the bushes, can you drop that link? If not, I'll get the link. It's in, I know the link was in the travel group and it was in the Ladies Who Love Sports group. But it may be, you might have to scroll back. But Tracy usually has that stuff. And Tracy may have put it in the discourse, child. Right. Thank you, pretty gray eyes. I'll be like, squirrel. All right. Now let's talk about this Penn State fraternity for a second. Can I tell y'all something? Last night, right? My niece sent me this article last night. She sent it to me before I had even seen it. And can I tell y'all, and I know y'all already know what I'm about to say. I know y'all know what I'm about to say. Baby, all I saw was Penn State fraternity. And I was like, now I'm about to click this article. I'm about to click this article. But I bet not see no Omega Psi Phi. I bet not see no Alpha Phi Alpha. I better not see no Kappa Alpha Psi. I bet not see no Kappa Kappa Psi. Hell, I bet not even see no iota. I bet not see not near D9 organization on this page. Now, what I find to be interesting, though, is when it is a D9 organization, that's usually in the title. It usually says Omega Psi Phi fraternity, boom, 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 boom. Kappa Alpha Psi, boom, 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 boom. But this one, when it's a bunch of white boys, all I saw was Penn State fraternity. Now, if I'm tripping, y'all say, all right, really be, you doing a lot right now. That ain't how it usually be. And I'll listen to y'all. But I felt like when it's a D9 organization, I feel like it's in the title. But I could be wrong. I could be doing too much. But let's read through this article about this Penn State fraternity not too far from here. I could be in Penn State in 2.5 hours, depending on how fast I'm driving. Okay. I have a good friend of mine works at Penn State. She doesn't work with this, but she works at Penn State. More than a dozen current and former students from two fraternities, not just one, two, were part of an operation that involved packaging drugs at fraternity houses, authorities said. Pennsylvania's Attorney General on Monday charged 13 former and current Penn State students with felonies and misdemeanors related to cocaine trafficking operation that they said involved packaging the drugs at the fraternity house and distributing it to students. 6 of the defendants are current students. 4 defendants face charges of felony, corrupt organizations, and conspiracy, among other defenses, while a 5th is charged with felony, conspiracy, and other crimes. 8 others were charged with misdemeanor offenses like possession, according to the grand jury indictment. A 14th person, the father of a student, was charged with tampering with evidence and hindering the investigation. Now, is that the father that's an attorney? That's a prominent attorney in Pittsburgh? 2 of the defendants were the main suppliers of the drugs, according to Dave Sunday, the Attorney General. Making regular trips to Philadelphia and New York to acquire drugs, Mr. Sunday said at a news conference on Monday that they brought back large amounts of cocaine to the state college. They did it in 2023 and 2024. The cocaine was then packaged mainly at the Sigma Chi and Delta Epsilon fraternity house near the Penn State University campus and distributed primarily to students attending the university. This sounds like something out of Power. Ain't this what that boy was doing down to the Power? He was at an Ivy League school doing it too. This was an upper-level trafficking organization for this region in Pennsylvania. So why are they not being charged with a RICO? Y'all want to charge everything and everybody else with a RICO. This sounds like a RICO. Now, I'm not an attorney. This might not be no real RICO. But it sounds like RICO. Don't this sound like an organization? Yeah, this sounds like what Tariq was doing down to the Power. Yeah, Christopher. All right, let me finish reading this article, child. Members of the Sigma Chi, I think I read this part already. No, members of the Sigma Chi and Delta Epsilon fraternity houses held packages, sometimes as part of the initiation process for new members. The investigation, which is continuing, did not find drugs being packaged on campus. He did not say whether hazing charges would be added. Because another article I read said that basically they were making them do this as part of their initiation process. The actual drug dealing was largely from friend to friend, fraternity brother to fraternity brother, acquaintance to acquaintance, and at fraternity house and or during parties and social engagements. The defendants facing felony charges were arraigned on Monday. Mr. Tillo failed to appear for his arraignment on Monday, surrendered on Tuesday morning, and was denied bail. How you don't show up to your arraignment? I didn't know that was an option. See, boy, I tell you, just the baby, the complexion for the protection. Thank you, K-Fit, if you in the bushes, boo. Thank you. Penn State administrators suspended the university's chapter on Monday. As they began an investigation, Mr. Dubois said the university has no authority to sanction Sigma Chi because it operates without official approval or recognition from Penn State. So it's not even an official fraternity on Penn State's campus. Okay, but the university still holds individual students they're accountable for misconduct. I want to know, I have a question, and I'm not saying y'all know the answer to this question. Y'all might not know. Thank you, Terrence. This sounds like a RICO. Why are these people not being charged with a RICO? But here's what I don't understand. I want to know, is Sigma Chi not, because I don't know nothing about white fraternities, is Sigma Chi not recognized on Penn State's campus because they've been kicked off of campus, or were they never an officially recognized fraternity? Like, is this just some shit that some friends made up and got a house off campus, or was it a fraternity at one time and it got kicked off campus and they just doing their thing off campus? I'm wondering. I have questions. Oh, Penn State is definitely going to distance themselves if they can. Absolutely. But I just wonder, when were they not recognized? Like, are they allowed to have activities on campus? Are they allowed to have parties on campus? Are they allowed, do they do fundraising? Do they do community service? Like, I'm just wondering when they stop being a part of Penn State. Doesn't it have to be a series of other? No, they charged Diddy with RICO. I mean, it didn't stick. I mean, he didn't get convicted of it, but they charged him with a RICO. All right. Oh, wrong article. I'm like Disney. Sorry, y'all. I opened up the wrong article. The executive director of the Delta Epsilon International Fraternity, Justin Kirk, said in a statement that the individuals associated with Delta Epsilon have either been expelled, suspended, or resigned from the fraternity. I bet they have been. Sigma Chi's executive director, Michael Church, said that the 3 members of his fraternity charged in the case had been suspended, as had the Penn State chapter. Okay, so the chapter so there was a chapter, it just had been suspended. Now, I wonder why they were suspended. He said that the organization would investigate whether the allegations involved just individual conduct or it was an organized chapter activity. Hey, Mr. Church, sir, according to the indictment, Mr. Church, they had said that this was organized. The indictment said it was organized, Mr. Church. That's what the indictment said. Okay. This conduct is an egregious violence. It has no place in our fraternity, community, or society, Mr. Church said. We are horrified by these serious accusations against current and former students. That's what Andrea Dowhauer, Penn State's Vice President of Student Affairs, said. Said, we will cooperate with law enforcement in any way we can. Law enforcement officers tracked the men and learned how the cocaine was obtained, packaged, and sold as early as January of 2023, according to the grand jury indictment. Beginning in September 2024, law enforcement officers used a confidential informant to buy the cocaine from a source linked to the 2 fraternity houses, according to the grand jury indictment. What we wanted to do was make sure that we took the time to arrest all of those individuals so that we would do our best to root out this criminal organization and to stop it from being able to continue to deal the cocaine in the future. Mr. Sunday said that Thomas Robinson's father, Paul Robinson, took steps to conceal evidence, including a safe obtaining drugs and cash, to obstruct this investigation. Man, I believe that that's the guy who is a prominent attorney in Pittsburgh. You think they got kicked off because Bradley University and the University of Illinois have Sigma Chi? This is what my problem is. I feel like, first of all, and y'all, maybe I'm just in one today. Maybe I'm just on one today. Maybe y'all be like, really be, no, really be. But I really feel like, again, number one, I feel like whenever there's a situation, and I know that hazing is a lot more serious. I understand, especially when somebody dies. I understand that. But I just feel like in the last couple of years, we have seen hazing incidents with Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and I feel like every time I see those articles, the name of the sorority or fraternity is always in the headline. Like I didn't have to look and find out that it was an Omega Psi Phi fraternity last year that had the unfortunate situation, right, with the young man dying during the hazing process. Last week we just had a situation with Kappa Alpha Psi where the guy was a part of law enforcement, and that was all over the headlines. Kappa Alpha Psi, Kappa Alpha Psi, Kappa Alpha Psi. I just found, I mean, again, y'all, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. But I wonder, now they say they've been doing this investigation for 3 years because they wanted to make sure they arrested the right people. I just wonder if this had been Omega Psi Phi down to the Penn State, you think they would have waited 3 years? You think they would have really waited 3 years to take this to the grand jury if that had been Kappa Alpha Psi? If that had been Alpha Phi Alpha? You think they'd have waited 3 years? I'm just wondering. You think they'd be charging them with RICO? Because this sounds like RICO to me. It sounds like both of those fraternities, at least those two chapters, were very much in cahoots. Both of them was doing the same thing at two different houses. They were making their pledges as part of the initiation process, packaging that shit up, had them in there like New Jack City, packaging them shit up. Like, really? I mean, listen, okay, y'all don't think I'm tripping. I read the chat. Y'all like, really be, you know you're not tripping. Really be. I'm just saying. Because yeah, some of them graduated. That's why the article said former students and current students. Like, y'all let them carry this over to a whole nother 2 more school years. 2023. Xavier said, I wonder if they were packaging it naked. I don't know. They might have been. Exactly, Terrence. Even if they couldn't make it stick, they would have definitely been, baby, they would not have held 3 years. 2023. And you didn't even send an informant in until 2024? I'm sorry, what? Jack McCoy would never. And if you don't know who Jack McCoy is, I can't help you. Sure. You confusion? What you confusion about, Xavier? Well, not you got to Google Jack McCoy. Go on and Google him and tell me what you get. Go on and Google Jack McCoy. Oh, hold on, I hit the wrong button. All right. Let's get into a little bit of housekeeping, y'all. I try to not do all the housekeeping at one time. Put Xavier in the corner with a VCR. Exactly, C Golden. Exactly. Right. Exactly, Chuck. Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Yes. Y'all know Xavier's the baby, y'all. Y'all know he the baby. Y'all know he's our baby. It's okay. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Again, if y'all my books and bourbon people, October, the weekend. Hold on, let me get this off the screen. The weekend of October, the 23rd through the 25th. My books and bourbon people, remember your money is due by August, the last day of August, August the 30th. My birthday people that are going with us down to Charlotte to celebrate Ebby's 50th birthday, I need your money by the end of the month as well. Again, if you are going to both events, I'm sorry, it was not my intention to make the money due on the same day. But if you are planning to go, and if you're going to both events, give me a call or reach out to me, via Instagram or whatever, if you need to talk about the money situation. Because again, it was not my intention to make that money all due on the same day. I apologize for that. I will plan better in the future. September the 8th, y'all, I have got to remember to upload the right version of this flyer. September the 8th is the last date for you to register for the football pool. Again, we have limited spaces. I can only make it for 20 people. We already have a good number of people that have registered. So if you were thinking about it, don't tarry. Don't tarry. Don't tarry. If you need the link, I will drop it. I got you, Chuck. I understand, baby. If you need the link, let me know for the football pool, because I posted it on my community wall. But for some reason, I can't find the shorter link. But I have to find the shorter link so I can post it in the chat, because it's too long of a link for me to post in the chat. But Tracy did something to shorten the link, and she was able to post it in the chat. And that's why I was hoping she would be here. And if you are going on the Tribe Bowl, the last day to pay the Tribe Bowl is November the 28th. Listen, one thing I know about the Tribe, one thing I know about y'all, and one thing I love about y'all is y'all don't play. When y'all say y'all gonna do something, baby, y'all do it. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. When y'all say y'all gonna do something, baby, y'all do it. Because when I say y'all, because y'all know every time y'all make a payment on the Tribe Bowl, y'all know I get it, right? Like I get a receipt telling me that somebody made a payment. Baby, the way y'all these last week, y'all not playing with this cruise. Y'all are not playing with this cruise. I still have a VCR too. I got a VCR and a DVD player. Sure do. Now I can't tell you the last time I watched anything in that VCR, but I got one. Hell, I can't tell you the last time I looked at a DVD, but I still got my DVD player, Blu-ray. And you don't play with me, I got a Blu-ray. Natalia said, I ain't know who it was either. You going over there with Xavier? That's near you, but you can't go. What, to come to Abby's birthday? Oh, you're not available the weekend of Abby's birthday? I would love for you to come down, Miss Flames. Hang out with us. You don't have to stay the whole weekend if you just want to come down on that Saturday. But people who are just coming, excuse me. For the people who are just coming on Saturday, or Abby's actual birthday on Saturday, that's only $75. And that's just to cover the food, the drinks, the snacks, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm building a physical collection so I can build my own streaming service. I know that's right, Xavier. I know that's right, Xavier. I'm not mad at you at all. I was looking at, y'all know I'm a nerd, right? Y'all know I'm a nerd. And so the History Channel, Xavier, you about to cuss me out. I'm about to say something, and Xavier is going to jump through this phone all the way from the other side of the country. he gonna jump through this phone and smack me. And you have my permission to do so, Xavier. When I say what I'm getting ready to say, you have my permission to jump through this phone and smack me. You do. So I've finally cleaned out my DVR. Yeah, I told y'all I was switching from my DVR to the just 100% streaming for my DirecTV service. And I literally have given away the last 2 months. I have literally given away money because I've had both services. But there were certain things on my VCR that I wanted to watch. I mean, now y'all got me saying VCR on my DVR that I really wanted to watch. So I literally just finished. There's only one thing left in my DVR right now, and that's them 4 episodes of Next Gen NYC that I have not done a review of yet. But one of the things that's on my to-do list tomorrow is to call DirecTV, get it cut off, and I will 100% be on my streaming service and get them this equipment back and all of that stuff. But the one thing that has been sitting in my DVR for like the last 3 years that I never finished watching was Truman Capote versus the Swans. And Xavier has been begging me to finish that review because I stopped midway through the show and I never finished. And I finally finished it this weekend. I finally finished watching all of the episodes. And when I say it's been in my DVR for like 3 years, it's been in my DVR. And it was so good. I was so bad because Xavier, a part of me wanted to go live and talk about it because it was so good. Here's the reason why I never finished. And this is my problem. The reason why I never finished this, the reason why it was so hard for me to finish the show is because I actually read the book while I was watching the show. So when I got finished the book, I was kind of over it because I had read the book. So I was kind of over the show, but it actually was pretty good. Now the book was still better because, the book usually is, but it was pretty good. But I thought about you, Xavier. I said, if Xavier knew that I had just finished watching that. But the other thing that I had in my DVR that I just finished this weekend, the History Channel, I've told y'all this before. The History Channel has a series called Blank That Built America. So it started with, I think the first version was like Machines That Built America. And it started with industrialization and all of the inventions. And it started with like the Vanderbilts and the JP Morgans of the world, during that whole capitalist industrialism of the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s. That's where the show, from my best recollection, started. From there, it is expanded. They had Vices That Built America, and that dealt with the tobacco industry, the liquor industry, the beer industry, condoms, and gaming, like gambling. And they actually do a really good job of telling the story of Jack Daniels. That's one of the people they highlight. Then they did Toys That Built America, Food That Built America. And when I tell you I love all of them, I love all of them. So then the one that I just got finished watching that had been in my DVR all these years, was called, I think it was like Industries That Built America. So they had the episode on the car rental service, which, like, for me, I love hearing these stories about how these things started, right? So it did the car rental store because, and they were talking about Hertz versus Enterprise, right? And then they did, so they did like the telephone. So they showed the invention of the cell phones and the battle between the two companies that were trying to make the cell phones. So anyway, they did all of those. But the one that I watched the other day, no, JP Morgan didn't die on the Titanic. But there were some family members of some of these industrialists who died on the Titanic. The one I watched the other day dealt with Blockbuster versus Netflix. Let me tell y'all something. I wish that I had bought stock in Netflix like when it first went public, if I had just bought, I think when Netflix first went public, they went public for $15 a share. Baby, if I had only bought $100 worth of Netflix stock the day it went public, I ain't saying I'd be able to retire right now, but I'd probably be in a comfortable position. Certainly if I had bought $1,000 worth of Netflix. But anyway, I say all that to say because I had Netflix when it first started. That's how long I've been paying for Netflix. If I added up every month since, because I remember when Netflix was $3.99 a month, where you could get the 3 DVDs and you could set up your queue. So as soon as you sent back one of the DVDs, it would automatically send you the next thing in your queue. That's when I first started watching entire series, because you could just one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it started with just one. Remember, you could only do one at a time. And then they went up to 3 at a time. And then I think they went up to like 8 at a time or something like that. And then that's when they started doing streaming. And I'm going to tell you, the first series that I think I watched might have been Mad Men. And then I watched The West Wing, because I had watched The West Wing when it was on television, but there were episodes that I missed. So I was able to go back to the beginning and not miss not one episode. Then I did Boston Legal. But that's when I started watching series, was through my Netflix. Anyway, it was such an interesting story, because Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix, but they were so arrogant. They were like we're Blockbuster. We don't need y'all. We're Blockbuster. And look at what happened to them. Netflix is still around. Blockbuster's dead. But they had the opportunity to buy the owners of Blockbuster. I mean, the owners of Netflix. They were two friends. They were two guys that were just they were just trying to get into the, they were just trying to find their gimmick. And they were kind of overwhelmed because Blockbuster grew really fast, but they were making money, but they weren't making as much money, and they didn't really have the capital to put in because it was the inventory was really what it was with Blockbuster. With Netflix. They had inventory, but at the time that they first started Netflix, DVDs were not as prevalent as they are now. So they bought up as many DVDs as they could in the different genres and stuff, but they were limited in their inventory. But Netflix blew up, and they needed the capital to keep building the infrastructure. And they didn't really have the capital. So they went to Blockbuster to sell it to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster was like, no. That was a dumbass decision. No, what hurt Blockbuster, because what ended up hurting Blockbuster, according to the episode, was Blockbuster tried to compete with Netflix they did away with their late fees. Well, Blockbusters, and for all of us who ever had Blockbuster, we probably pay hundreds of dollars in late fees over the lifetime of our membership. Blockbuster made like $40 million a year just on their late fees. So when they got rid of late fees, they really took away a lot of their income, and that was free money. Like, you didn't have to do anything for that money. You literally were just charging people a fee for not bringing their video back on time. Whereas with Netflix, you didn't have to worry about that, because you could keep the DVD. You could keep the DVD as long as you wanted. You never had to send that DVD back. Of course, if you canceled your membership or your credit card didn't go through, then yeah, they would charge you for the DVD. But as long as you paid that monthly fee, and that's how Netflix got over, because it was the membership fee. Because the thing about it, we all know that now, that once you start paying a membership for something, you automatically just pay it every month, even if you don't use it. How many months? I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't tell y'all the last time I watched something on Hulu. But I pay my Hulu every month. Why? Because it comes out my bank account. I don't even see it till they've already charged it. Even when I say I'm going to cancel my Hulu, as soon as I say I'm going to cancel my Hulu, something comes on and it's on Hulu. And I'll be like, hell, sometimes months go by and I don't watch Netflix. Peacock, So that's how. So then Blockbuster started doing. They started doing their own version of online. The problem with that was when they started doing their own. When Blockbuster started doing their own version of online, they let people do unlimited. So then what happened was people were eating up the inventory. They were doing unlimited and they could keep it as long as they wanted because they were trying to compete with Netflix. But then people were eating up their inventory, whereas with Netflix, they put a limit on it. You could, like I said, at first it was 1 at a time, and then it went to 3 at a time, and then I think it went to 8 at a time. I think, and then from there, I think it's when they started transferring to streaming. But that's what killed Blockbuster. They were trying to compete with Netflix, and they didn't have the same infrastructure because once Netflix put that membership in, yeah, they didn't care how long you kept the DVR, because they're still getting money from you every month. And back then it wasn't a lot. Like I said, I think when I first started my Netflix, it was $3.99 a month. And the reason why I remember that because I remember thinking, because matter of fact, when I first signed up for Netflix, you could choose your plan. Either you did the one CD one DVD at a time, or you could do 3 at a time, I believe. And then when I first started, I chose 1 at a time because I didn't know if I was gonna like it. I didn't know. Then I went up to the 3. Like after a couple of months, I was like, I went up to the 3. And the 3 at a time, and then it went to 5. That's when it went to 5. And then I think it went to 8, and then it started going to streaming. Baby, quiet as kept and loud as it is. I still got a Blockbuster. I mean, a Netflix DVR here. What's up, French Cans? What's up, boo? I still got one here, honey. But anyway, so yeah, so there's that, y'all. But anyway, I've been rambling. I said rumbling. I've been rambling. You remember me too, baby, the original Netflix child. I remember when I first got it on my TV. I was like, okay, what's this? And it transferred your queue. When you first got it on, when I first set it up on my first TV, Target. Thank you, Cindy. Let me talk about Target. I meant to talk about Target a second ago, but I lost my train of thought. But we're about to get there. But when I first logged in and set up my Netflix account, and I put in my name, my account and my because you use your same account and password that you had online when you set up your queue. I remember my queue was there. Now they don't have it set up like that anymore. At least I don't believe they do. All right. What I was going to say about Target, and I should have said this when we were talking about Disney and all of that. I saw this online the other day. And this is the kind of shit I be trying to tell y'all. And again, when I say y'all, I'm talking about the people that this applies to. I never had Roku. Oh, I've done food that you said food that made America? Okay. I've done food that built America on the History Channel. That's when they talked about the chocolate wars with Hershey versus Mars. They talked about the Kraft cheese, which again, like it's little stuff. Okay, Kwale, I'll get that for you. It's little stuff that you be like, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? I never thought about having to pasteurize cheese and why they talked about the invention of TV dinners. They talked about, of course, they did Coke versus Pepsi. They did Domino's versus Pizza Hut. Because usually what they do is they'll pick 2 of the top in that particular industry, and they'll talk about those 2 top people and those 2 different companies. Yeah, Redbox didn't help either. Yep, you're right. I remember people I never did Redbox, but I know people who did. Like I said, I always had Netflix. I'm trying to think of some of the other food wars. And then when they did Toys That Built America, they talked about the G.I. Joe doll. They talked about the Barbie doll. They talked about board games. They did a whole episode on Monopoly. How the Monopoly game was created. Cabbage Patch Kids. They did an episode on the Cabbage Patch Kids. Of course, they did the video games. You know, the original like video game machines. Yeah, it's again for a nerd like me. Probably, I'm sure there's some episodes, but I eat it up. I eat it up. I eat it up. They did do Barbie, yep, and they talked about the woman who ran Mattel. It was actually a woman who ran Mattel. And they even talked about the criticism of the Barbie doll, like, you know, yeah, it's really good though. Anyway, it's really good. So this, I saw this the other day. I think I saw this either the day before, I think the day before yesterday, or maybe I saw it yesterday. Target reportedly, excuse me, excuse me. Target reportedly lost 12.4 billion with a B, billion with a B, in market value after backlash over canceling its $2 billion DEI pledge sparked nationwide boycotts. What started off as a one-day hit has now turned into a steady decline, with sales, traffic, and stock performance slipping for months. Now, what is what? You said, what is it again? What is what? Now, this is when I say to y'all, when we talk about boycotts and we talk about the long-term effects and we talk about it's not an overnight thing, but imagine if this is what, let's be real, it's probably only about 40% of Black folk boycotting Target. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. We know everybody ain't boycotting Target. Food that built America? What in the world? Food that built America. Hold on a second, y'all. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. What I'm saying is, imagine in my Dominique Morgan voice, imagine if 90% of Black folk were boycotting Target. We could probably double that. And then we could put a real dent in it. But the problem is, a lot of people haven't. And a lot of people keep making excuses. And a lot of people keep allowing people like Jay-Z convince them that it's not important. Unfrosted is the name of the movie. What movie? Me, the French Kiss. I have not been to Target. And I don't miss, and listen, I used to love Target. Target was my spot. Do you hear me? But not only have I not missed Target, I've probably saved a lot of fucking money. Because I feel like every time I would go into Target, I would go in there for one or two things and spend $300, $200. On what? You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to bring that number to y'all just so y'all know that the boycotts do make a dent. The boycotts do mean something. But they're not overnight, especially if we're not getting full participation. So for those of you in this chat that are still shopping at Target, again, I can't tell nobody how to spend their money because I don't want nobody to tell me how to spend mine. However, I just want you to think about that. And before people start saying, well, what about the other companies that got rid of DEI? I get it. But we can't boycott everybody at one time. We just got to, let's decide on one. Now, don't get me wrong. You can have your personal convictions, and there may be places that you choose not to go based on your personal convictions of things. Again, I can't tell nobody how to spend their money. Right, Jessica. I feel you, baby. Target was my go-to because I really don't do Walmart. So whenever I needed like to go, a place like that, that was my go-to. I was in Target all the time. I used to work, and part of it is because I used to work at Target. And the reality of the situation is a lot of people are not going back to Target. Like I know me, I'll probably never go back to Target because again, I haven't missed anything. It was my Disneyland. Listen, Target was my spot, and I knew going into Target, I was going to spend more money than I had planned to spend. Like I already knew that. Right, Chuck. And I try my best. I'm not gonna lie. I have slipped. I have been to Chick-fil-A, but I don't go to Chick-fil-A like I used to. And I'm definitely trying to. I'm definitely putting it on my do not go there list. The problem is I was so used to going that sometimes I'm there and I forget and I'll be like, oh shit, I ain't supposed to be here. Because there's literally a Target right next to my job. I mean, a Chick-fil-A right next to my job. And that used to be our go-to. You know what I'm saying? That used to be our go-to all the time. But I can honestly say I used to go to Chick-fil-A all the time. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've been to Chick-fil-A in the last 12 months. And that I used to go to Chick-fil-A 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, Hobby Lobby is dead to me. Absolutely dead to me. And I stopped shopping at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. When I found out that Hobby Lobby wouldn't cover birth control for their employees because they were pro-life, I was like, oh yeah, I'm good on them. Janae said, I'm not much of a shopper, so it hasn't been hard for me. I won't even request anyone buy me anything from Target if they go in. Yeah. I had a Target gift card that I never used, and I ended up giving it away. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. So the people at Marlowe Furniture pissed my daddy off in 1990. We haven't been back since. Baby, that Marlowe Furniture was going out of sale. Listen, my kitchen set is Marlowe Furniture. Is my bedroom set Marlowe? I think my bedroom set is Marlowe. When I bought my house, I bought because I needed a new bedroom set and I needed a kitchen set. And I really feel like my kitchen set and my bed, because my living room, this isn't my original living room set. My living room set somebody gave me, and then I bought this new set right before I got sick. I remember I was in the hospital and I had to finish paying on it because baby was a layaway. And I remember my cousin, he finished paying it off for me. My cousin that drops down in the chat sometime, he actually, when I was in, because I asked him to make the payment because I bought it from a friend of his owned the store where I bought it from. And I was like, can you just go up there, let them know what's going on, and can you just make this much payment for me? And I'll pick it up next month. And then the next time he came to the hospital to visit me, he just bought me the receipt. He had paid it off. I was like, oh, cousin, thank you so much. Yeah. But yeah, I have this but I need a new kitchen set and I need a new bedroom set. So but that look at there he go right there. Look at him. He didn't drop down in the chat. There he go right there. Yeah, my cuz. Sure did. Love you, cuz. But yeah. I need a new bedroom set and I need a new kitchen set. I mean, it's not the most expensive, and I very rarely sit in my kitchen, very rarely. But the problem is, it's one of those elevated tables, and it has like the high chairs, and I can't sit in those chairs anymore. They make my legs go to sleep, and that's how my legs. That's how it's all this started with my legs. Was my legs were falling asleep, and so I just get nervous when my legs start falling asleep. It makes me nervous, so I very rarely sit in those chairs, and they're just they weren't the best quality to begin with. Koale, I didn't forget about you. Let me get you this link and then we great tap out. But yeah, they weren't the best quality to begin with, if I'm being honest. But yeah, baby, I know Marlowe Furniture well. My uncle used to work at Marlowe Furniture. He's passed away now, but yeah, he worked at Marlowe Furniture for years. That's where he retired from. Okay, hold on. So right now we have. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this link. Maybe it's easier for me to do it. Well, let me. Koale, what's your email? It might be easier for me to just sit. Well, no, never mind. Never mind. No. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me try to do it this way. This link is just so long for some reason. It won't let me put this link. And Tracy had shortened the link. Hold on. Let me go in here. Nobody loves me like you do. Nobody loves me. Yeah, this link is too long. It's not letting me. All right. I'm going to have to. Hold on. It's still too long, even if I delete all of this. Let me see. I don't know why this link is so long. I might have to just shorten the link. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could take all of this off. Let me see if that's enough. Let me see if I took off enough that it'll go through now. Nope, it's still too long. It's still too long. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make it. Koale, what's your email? I could just send it to your email. What's your email address? If you don't mind putting it in the chat. If you don't want to put it in the chat, then send it to me on Instagram or something. I'll give you a few minutes. Put it anybody else that's interested in joining the football league, put your email address in the chat or send me your email address because I can send you the link through the email. But for some reason, the link is too long. I'm gonna have to shorten the link, but I gotta go through. But I can do that. That I can do. Let me give you a second, Koale. But I'll put it, you know what? I'm going to put it on my community wall. That's what I'll do. I'll put it on, because it was on my community wall. I'll put it on my community wall again. Hold on. I'm about to put it on the community wall right now. All right, Koale, it's on the community wall. Anybody else that's interested, it's on the community wall. I just posted it. It's right there. So y'all can get it off the community wall. Okay? All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.